Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live, and the Champions League started last week. We're going to be talking about that, and obviously the Premier League that was over the weekend. I'm joined by Steve, Garth, and Melvin. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Very well, thank you.
All right. It's been ups and downs for people in this past week. Quite stressful for Arsenal fans yesterday in a 2-2 draw in the North London derby after a great start to their Champions League campaign, and vice versa for Man United. Not the best start in their Champions League campaign, but a win on the weekend away from home to Burnley. First and foremost, we're going to start with you, Garth, because Andre Onana came in to Man United on a wave of hype. He's kicking being the main reason why he's been brought in, obviously because David De Gea didn't have that in his locker. And we've seen how comfortable he looks on the ball, especially in the Arsenal game. He was part of the reason why Arsenal had to change tactics in not putting the press on and dropping in deep, because they were happy to play with it in the area. But we've seen since then some of his shortcomings potentially with his saving and an absolute clanger against Bayern Munich, a team that doesn't need help at all. What's your thoughts on his start of his Man United career before we get onto the result?
It's been a very shaky start for him. That's no two ways about it. I was never up for him as a sign. I don't know if you remember. I said to begin with that he's got Bartes vibes all over him. And that's what's coming to the forefront. It's all well and good that he can play out the back and everything, but for me personally, goalkeeper's number one job is to stop the ball in the back of the onion bag. So, I don't want to be too harsh, obviously, because our team is rubbish at the moment. We're playing awful football. He's getting pelted like pelters all day long. I think it was 26 shots he had to put up with against Wolves in the first game. He got a clean sheet there. 28 shots against Spurs. So, yeah, not great, but the mistakes, it isn't just a big claim against Bayern Munich. Was it Spurs where he got sat down, like absolutely sat down, or Nottingham Forest, they got sat down. He got lobbed pre-season really badly, etc. Like, for me personally, I've got a feeling you might see the back of him within a year. And considering I only just found out the other day that this is the third most expensive goalkeeper in history, apparently. I know at 45 mil. Is that right? Something like that. So
yeah.
I'm expecting a lot more. Obviously, I'm not going to get into revisionism. David De Gea made his mistakes as well, especially early on in his career. I was there for his debut in the Charity Shield against Man City, and he let in 2 clangers on that day. So, shaky start. The only way is up for him. I will come back once we have our full team and defence, and he isn't so not protected. And if you ask me again, I may have a different opinion. But at the moment, not impressed, mate. Not impressed at all.
Oh, not impressed. Steve, a lot of been made about modern goalkeepers needing to be able to play out the back, and it is important they should be able to play out the back. But one thing Garth said is the first job of a goalkeeper is to stop the ball from going in the back of the net. And we've seen that. Do you think that people are being harsh on Onana with some of the saves that he said he should have been making, or they within they're justified with their conclusion of him so far?
I think it's a little bit of both, really. I mean, you can call him out for mistakes, and he seems to be a bit rash in games. The game against Wolves, that was very rash coming out there. I mean, most people, I think, even Man United fan thought that was a penalty. You've already mentioned a couple of, Garth mentioned one against Tottenham. He should be, a goalkeeper who's costing that amount of money should be making those saves. There's no doubt about that. As for are people being harsh? Yeah, look, I mean, I do think they're being a bit harsh, because I'm one of these people who don't agree with slagging off players too early. I like to see them, given a chance. We've seen many players at our club, in the past who have taken time to settle in, and then at other clubs as well. So look, it's only 6 games. So I'm certainly not one person who's going to be starting, saying that Onana's not going to make it. He's not going to be the goalkeeper It's a new league, you know. It's a massive. I mean, you come from Milan, didn't he? Into Milan, you know, it's like night and day. Those two types of football and the way they're played, the way the defences are set up in front of them, and there's, you know, Garth will even, you know, I'm sure he agree that the defence that he was playing at front of in Milan to the defences, you know, having to play with at the moment for Manchester United is a little bit night and day. So I do think people are being a bit harsh. I do think they should be given a bit more time. I just go back to the same thing that I've always thought from day one, really. I don't think they needed him. I really don't think I needed him. Or what I should say is I do think that in the long run they needed him, but I don't think they needed him this early. You know, I think they've made a bit of a rod for their own back. Because if you look at the Man United side now, you know, you can tell that they could easily have done with that money in other positions, for me anyway. You know, especially where they've got owners who don't go into their own pocket. It seems to me like there's a little bit of money wasted on Onana. As I say, not, you know, maybe at the end of the season, but not now. I feel they could have done with it in other positions. But yeah, to answer your question, mate, a little bit harsh, but yeah, he needs to. I'm sure the mistakes will get ironed out sooner or later, but he needs to iron them out. That's for sure.
Melvin, what's your thoughts on the modern keepers? There's a lot of talk about they all need to play out the back, but there's some that just aren't great shot stoppers as well. Onana was criticised about the goal that Declan Rice scored. They said that a lot of people saying that De Gea would have scored that. Do you think that's harsh, or do you think that's justified?
I think it's very harsh. It wasn't a straightforward shot, was it? It got deflected. I think, you know, I think it's very harsh on him, and also he's only played a few games. Give him a chance, for God's sake. But I do agree with Garth. I think I'd rather have a goalkeeper to save shots than someone that gives a 40-yard ball straight to someone. If you can have both, or have him do his distribution is fantastic, that's a bonus. But you just want a goalkeeper first and foremost to save. It's like having a centre forward that can't tackle back. Yeah, it's the same thing. You just want to score goals. If he scores two goals every couple of games or whatever, you don't care about him tackling back. And again, if he does tackle back, again, it's a bonus. I just think he's tough for the goalkeeper because he hasn't got a stable defence around him. They don't look very solid at the back, United. That could all change. At the moment, it's just not clicking. And we could talk about us. We're not clicking. So it's early days. I think there's no reason to put any more pressure on him. But I do agree with Steve. I think if De Gea was going to stay, is he still at United, De Gea, or has he gone somewhere?
No, he went.
He went.
He's about to retire, apparently, isn't he?
Really?
Yeah.
What a
Next
goal!
can't get the club.
I know that he hasn't. About, was it 5 years ago? He was the best in the world by far.
Yeah.
He was amazing, and he's obviously not as good, but he's still a quality keeper. And in certain games, he used to make saves to keep United in it. So, but the thing is, Steve, going back to say, well, they could have spent their money elsewhere. United are big enough to spend their money in both places. If United think they need a left back, they would have still bought a left back with that goalkeeper. So I don't think it's with United. It's not one or. It's that they're just, they're a corporation, aren't they? So they can basically, afford what other clubs perhaps can't.
Garth, you said you didn't need Onana. Do you think this is another time where Man United have essentially kind of bought another name? Now I know Onana fits, but there are plenty of other goalkeepers out there that can play with their feet and are good shot stoppers as well. I mean, for example, Tottenham's goalkeeper. You've only seen him in a few games, but we've seen that I think it cost about 15 mil. Good with his feet, good shot stopper. Apparently going to be Italy's he's number 2 at the moment. So did you need to go for the name? Because Onana is a name. It's another name out there. So do you think they needed to go for him, or do you think better scouting Man United should be doing and looking for cheaper options and maybe better options?
First of all, I just need to De Gea. I backed him forever. He had to go, like De Gea. It comes to that point with De Gea where it was time for him to move on. The wages were $375 a week, the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. We couldn't keep up with his wages. He had to move on. But he's my favourite goalkeeper. Lovely. But I don't know if it's the name of Onana. It's our scouting's all over the gaff. I think it was that Ten Hag has got himself into a bit of a position where he's buying players that he knows, and he's hoping that they're going to click for him because he's playing a certain system and a lot of the boys aren't up to it. So he knows Onana can play that system. The money, listen, we're Man United, mate. We get our pence pulled down on any transfer that we try and buy. It's not a joke. That's 10 mil plus immediately when Man United come knocking at the door. Immediately. It feels like it anyway. And Onana, I mean, apparently I'm reading the Inter Milan chairman coming out saying that he's laughing all the way to the bank. He can't believe Man United have paid this amount of money for him because Onana's not world class, etc., etc. They pulled our pants. So I don't know if it's the name per se, but obviously I would have preferred an Oblak. I would have preferred a Raya. Definitely. I mean, how much did you boys pay for Raya? I'm sure we're going to get onto this conversation at some point.
35 mil, I think it is.
So 10 mil cheaper. I definitely would have preferred a Raya. You know what I mean? My knowledge of goalkeepers out there ain't great, but you take a punt on the young kid that Brighton signed for Bruggen. I think he's going to be a top-notch goalkeeper. So yeah, it's not so much the name. Have we overpaid for a player again? Yes, 100%. And is he going to be a success? We'll see, because no, it's only 6 games in, but for me personally, I think he should have saved that Rice shot. I really do. He's close to it. Yeah. He should have saved one against Brighton. The second goal, he didn't have to spring in his legs to get to it. He definitely should have saved at least one against Spurs. So I'm on 4 or 5 goals that he should have stopped in 6 games already, personally. Yeah. So yeah, but I don't know if it's the name. It's more Ten Hag's getting backed into a corner, and he's got not getting the support of the people above potentially, and he's having to reach out to people he knows and can kind of trust. That's where I'm at.
And the result against Bayern Munich wasn't the best. It wasn't the best start, but ended 4-3. What were your thoughts on the overall performance of that game?
Oh, the 4-3 is flattering, mate. We could have easily lost 7-6, 7-3. You know what I mean? Our goals were nothing special. We were good for 20 minutes, and then Onana makes a horrific mistake. They score again, 10 minutes after that, 5 minutes after that, whatever it is. Bayern played us off the park. Don't let the 4-3 colour that in any different way. They were a far better team. We are not Champions League material at the moment. We're lucky. I'll be very surprised if we go to Galatasaray and win. You know what I mean? I can see that being a draw or a defeat. So we'll see if we make it through the group stage. I'm not 100% on that. Bad performance all round. But again, I do have to caveat everything I'm saying, because every Man United fan will be screaming at me now. We are decimated at the moment with injuries. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, absolutely. Reguilon went off against Burnley. We were having to play Bruno Fernandes at left back until we got on Amrabat and put him at left back. So decimated at the moment.
Garth, can I ask you a question, please? I didn't see the Bayern game, but to me, no game is good when you get beat. But 4-3 seems like a fighting performance. Was it like that, or the scoreline didn't present that?
No, not really. That's what I'm saying. Not really. We're 2-0 down. We didn't get a goal, which we probably deserved at that point. But Bayern, every time we got close, Bayern are up the other end scoring, and then we got a cheeky goal right at the end, if that makes sense. You know, we've got to 3-2. Yeah. Bayern literally went straight up the other end with Tell and scored for 4-2, and then we got a cheeky free kick that's bombed into the area. The goalkeeper didn't quite see it. It's just spun into the bottom corner. So no, Bayern were by far the superior team, and you can just tell with their players that like every team at the moment, apart from Man United, seems to be playing crisp football. The passes are going on. We're in disarray at the moment. So there were some pluses, but no, definitely weren't a fighting performance, mate. Definitely weren't.
Potentially a plus, Højlund getting a goal. Give him some confidence. We'll get on to Højlund in a minute, Garth. Yeah. Steve, did you see the Bayern Munich game against Man United?
See bits of it. Yeah, I didn't see all of it, but at the same time as the Arsenal game, so I see the highlights. So yeah, just highlights.
And Onana's mistake, but maybe Man United can take something from it. I know Garth's saying it's not really a fighting performance, and it was kind of against the run of play, but still 4-3 away from home, especially after that start. Got to give this confidence to someone.
Yeah, it did. It is. I mean, the result says it's a close game, and when you look at the record books, you know everybody look at it as if it's a close football match. And yeah, I mean, I suppose you'll get the confidence from the fact that you went to the Allianz and you didn't get a whooping. So you know you can always get confidence from results and the fact that you never let anybody in. I just got the impression in that game that. You know, it just felt like from the bits that I see that Bayern were toying with them a little bit. It was like
off the gas.
Yeah, it seemed to me like they could have gone and scored when they want. You know, I know that's that it doesn't work like that, but it just seemed from the bits and pieces though. I mean, I say I never see the game, but I see like a good fair bit of the highlight, a long sort of stint of it, and it just seemed that. If Man United scored, then Bayern Munich thought, well, we'll just go up there and get another one and score another one. And if the game would have gone on, then Man United would have got another one. Then I think you could guarantee then they would have got another one, and it would have carried on like that. So it did feel a little bit like that. I think from performances like that, I think the only sort of way you can take things from it is look at it and look at personal. Performances. So from Højlund, but then you played. I think he did quite well in it, didn't he? And I'm sure a couple of other players did. But Casemiro is a worry at the moment. If I was a Man United fans, I'd be a little worried about him. But again, it's early days. He tends to start seasons slow. So let's see what happens. But look. They didn't go there and get hammered like we did, like 5-0, did they? So at least they can take that and know that they can score goals against them. So if there's a positive from to be taken is the fact that they did score 3 goals. So when they go to the return leg at Old Trafford, that's what they'd be telling them. I'd be telling them to know that look, we can score goals, but we need to tighten up at the back.
Definitely.
Can I just throw in there? Sorry, Kick. Can I just throw in there? Bayern were never out of second, third gear. I'm just seeing Travis's comment here. That Bayern team is not turning over Arsenal the way you boys are playing at the moment. There's no way they were not out of second gear. If they go up another gear, like the performance I saw for Bayern isn't good enough to turn over Arsenal. You may lose at the Munich Stadium, but yeah, you're not. They're not throwing smashing you up on the
Well, Arsenal fans have PTSD of that
the
team,
8-2 or whatever it is.
10-2. Anyone except City gets battered by Bayern, they turned over Arsenal. That's for sure. Let's get on to the Champions League of Arsenal. We can talk about something positive before we get on to the weekend result. Melvin, first time back in the Champions League in 7 years. PSV, Arsenal looked a lot more fluid this season, probably the best they've played this season. Yes, it was against lesser opposition, but I thought they did a lot better than they did last season when they played PSV in the Europa League. And I'd probably say PSV had a better team then as well. What was your thoughts on the game?
Well, they didn't learn by their mistakes, PSV. They just attacked us. And every time they came at us, we found a way through easily. I mean, it was a totally different game against, we'll probably talk about the Spurs game. And any game in the Prem Division, for that matter, they do a high block or whatever they call it. And it's difficult to play football against. But the team's going to come at you every time. There's going to be gaps, and we can exploit it with the type of football we play. But like we saw on Sunday, the team has a different, we look two different. There's 2 different teams with Arsenal. There's other reasons as well. No, we scored the first goal. We scored the second. We thought, now they're just going to they've got to now change things. They've got to change things because it's not working. Damage limitation. They didn't, just continued, and it was just a matter of time before we got the 3rd, 4th, and we could have got 5 or 6 to the finish. They got a different manager. They've sold a lot of good players, one to Liverpool. But I've been told by someone who knows that they bought a few good players, and you could tell there's some decent players in the team. But they just the tactics they got all the tactics wrong. That's all it was, and it was just one of those. It was lovely to be there. Listen, we heard that music, on a Wednesday night. We haven't heard for ages. That was a little bit emotional, if you like, because it was like, oh my God, this is what it really is. Different to our Thursday nights, I can change my television habits now. But it was really, it really did gets you. And it was to play football like that, we thought, wow, this is fantastic. And I thought, and before the Spurs game, I thought, right, was it because we've turned the corner, or was it because of the oppo we were playing? And I think it's the latter, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we'll get on to that in a bit because I think there's a few different angles we can go at that with. Steve, first time back in the Champions League, Arsenal looked very, very fluid. Yes, PSG played into our hands by being open. But it was good to see our three front men and the captain Odegaard getting goals.
Yeah, I mean that was Arsenal last season, was it? You know, that's probably the first time we've actually seen Arsenal sort of, you know, right from minute 1 to minute 90, just absolutely, you know, really sort of just a tear into the opponent, which we haven't really seen this season. Which, you know, there's reasons for that, but yeah, we just went out there. We just played our game. You know, yes, okay, yes, PSV sort of played into our hands by the way that they set up, and because they obviously they wanted to attack as well, but I think we knew that from the off. And yeah, and it was great to see, you know, Odegaard, like you said, Saka, Martinelli. Was it Martinelli that he played? Okay.
No,
Trossard, wasn't it? Trossard and Jesus. You know, and they were all getting on the score sheets. It was an excellent performance all round. We never got troubled at the back. It was an easy night at the office to be quite truthful. When, you know, you hoped that it was going to do you know, sort of carry itself on to the weekend. But again, I can't compare the two. We'll get onto it, but you can't compare the two because there was different. You know, there was different reasons for the way we played against on Tottenham. But yeah, look, great result. First time back in the Champions League, 4-0. You know, what more can you ask for? It's a great start.
Yeah, and Newcastle getting a 0-0 draw against AC Milan. A very good result for Newcastle as well.
Yeah, very, very good result. I mean, I watched that game, and I mean, I think they was a bit lucky at times. You know, they was hanging on. I mean, I don't think they deserved to come away with the 0-0. You know, not to be too harsh on Newcastle's first game back in the Champions League. I thought, you know, Milan should have won it quite easily. But look, you know, Newcastle, you know, the fans went over there, didn't they? That, you know, they was great. As I said, I'm not too sure how Inter did win the game, but you know, what a moment for them. Do you know what I mean? A team who's, you know, for years and years and years now has been having a problem with Mike Ashley and etc. and languishing in the Championship, and now they've got back to not where they belong, if you like, but they're enjoying the ride. And they probably, you know, looking at their group, they've got an incredible hard group, and the likeliness of them getting through it is you know, very small. But you know, look, I just, all I can say to Newcastle and in Newcastle, they just enjoy the ride while you're there, because and do your best to try and get back there next season, which is going to be difficult this year.
Garth, we've seen Newcastle's group, the group of death, but if they could just sort of do a Greece in like in the Euros and get a couple of draws where needed, take them back to St James's Park, get a result there, they might be able to sneak through that group.
Yeah. I mean, anything's possible, mate. I might win the lottery tomorrow, but it's doubtful, isn't it? You know. No, in all fairness, you're entirely right. Football's football. I think that's a magnificent point for them against a strong AC Milan team as well. But I mean, what is that? When was the last time they were in the Champions League, Newcastle? We must be talking 15 years minimum.
Bobby Robson, isn't it?
We're back there, so like early 2000s. Yeah. That is a great result for them to start with. You're right. PSG on any given Sunday, they can throw a game away well easy. So,
100%.
Like Dortmund aren't the strongest. Like they ain't the Dortmund you think about a couple of years ago. So yeah, you know, the bottom line is you win your home games. Yeah, that's the Champions League, innit? You get your 9 points from your home games, which isn't impossible for them, and then you try and sneak a couple of draws away from home, and then you're all out of nowhere. You're on 11 points, and you're actually second, even top of the group. So yeah, fair play to them, because I'm not the biggest Newcastle fan. Obviously, as being a Man United fan, but their fan base, it can't be denied that it's one of the best in world football. Newcastle fans, they've been through nothing but pain and agony for 25 years, basically. So let's hope that they do well, just for the fans' sake at the end of the day.
And Melvin, although Man City won, they went 1-0 down against I think it's Zaverna, or whatever it is. But it shows that you can't take any of these teams lightly, and the teams that Arsenal got in their group, although people will say that it's an easy group and they should be getting through, they need to be professional and make sure that they're putting in decent performances against them. Otherwise, they could concede goals and could get into a bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, it's true. You got to be professional. You can't mess around now. Everyone's got big squads, decent squads. So no club, whoever they are, should think they can get through, apart from probably Man City. I mean, you mentioned the team they played. I don't recall any of the teams Man City play unless it's Arsenal, because it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's only Man City you're thinking about. You know what I mean? You know, you don't wish them the best, obviously, being an Arsenal supporter, and United for that matter. So, yeah, I mean, any other team has got to take every game seriously. There's no foot off the brake, because that comes back and bites you on the bum more so than you actually think. So, no, you just got to keep going. It's like the league. With the league, though, if you're going for the top four, you can have loads of games where you take your foot off, you're not meaning to, and get a dodgy result. With the Champions League, you find you get one dodgy result, and I mean a bad result, you're all of a sudden you're looking over your shoulder. You know, there's only 6 games at most you play in the group stages, and obviously knockouts only 2, so you can't take your foot off the pedal that much. So no, you just got to keep going. You got to be very professional, keep going for 120 minutes an hour the game lasts, and just do it like that.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. Some of the added on time that we're seeing at the moment is crazy. 15 minutes.
And that's not an easy group either. There's some real European pedigree in there. You know what I mean? Seville are a big team. PSV are a big team. Right? Lens, you may not realise it, but they're not a small team either. So, yeah, no, I agree entirely, Melvin. You can't take your foot off the gas at any point.
No, you can't. And on to the Premier League. Liverpool getting another win, continuing their winning streak this season with a 3-1 victory against West Ham. Newcastle United smashing 8 past Sheffield United. Just declare Sheffield United, go and swap with another team. That is embarrassing.
Now, can I come in there? Sorry, can I come in there? I've got a funny story. I got home after the Arsenal game. Didn't want to see any sports things at all. Not in a happy mood. And then I saw that I didn't even know. A few hours later, I saw that Chelsea got beat. So I thought, I must see that. And then, you know, Sky do 3-minute clips, don't they?
Yeah.
I want to see what's all that about. I mean, they're not the greatest, but you thought Chelsea might at least at once get a decent result. I saw the game and they get beat, bang. And then I saw the next game that you could see was Sheffield United. I thought, Sheffield United can get something out of this. You know, they could have and should have got something out of Spurs last week. So I watched it and I see them get a goal. Then it went to VAR, but then it was given. All right. And I'm thinking, all right. And then another one went in. And every time Newcastle attack, you thought it was going to be a goal because it's only a 3-minute clip, right? It's not like they're doing all these special things.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, my wife comes in. She goes, what's going on? I said, well, it's 5-0. Oh, no, it's 6-0 and 7-0. It's 8-0. It's like, wow. How can a team play so differently defensively against two different teams? You know, they didn't let in a goal for 110 minutes against Spurs last week. And this week, they're 8 in whatever, 100 minutes this week. Sorry, but that was madness for me.
That's the Premier League for you.
Yeah, there's a highlight package where you don't get any replays on the goals either. They just show the 8 goals, no replays.
They've got no time
to show any replay.
It's crazy. Yeah, you can't be getting beat 8-0 to Newcastle at home as well. It's not looking good for them. Sheffield United, surely they're going to be going down. These are the sorts of results that just rip apart your team's morale. It's just, you've got to go training on Monday and do laps because you got spanked 8-0 against Newcastle. But on to the North London derby. Steve, we spoke about it yesterday, so I'm going to go on to Melvin quickly. Sorry.
I was warming up there.
Melvin.
We never
I know
agree,
you're
do we,
not
Mel?
happy. You're not happy. I'm not happy. But some will point to the fact that Mikel Arteta potentially got it wrong yesterday. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he did get it wrong. And I'm not blaming the player because it's not his fault he gets picked. But with what our squad is, to have Eddie up there when Jesus is fit doesn't make sense. Neither of them
Made no
are
sense.
wide players. Neither of them. Jesus can get away with it because he's got a bit of football nous. Eddie hasn't, with all due respect. He's a one-dimensional player. So it just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever yesterday. And you've got other people on the bench. Nelson, I don't think he's quite up to speed, be honest with you. We all want him to do well, but that's different. And also you've got, you had Emil Smith-Rowe, who brings something to the game. That was a perfect opportunity to bring him on or start with him. If he's not fit, someone's saying, well, perhaps he's not fit. But if he ain't fit, play him until he gets unfit. Let him play. See how he goes. He was all right in a cameo performance the other night. Bring him on. And after 50 minutes, 60 minutes, if he's like lagging a bit, there's been a bit of a change, then you can make a couple of swaps. But I tell you what, the whole game, I was sitting next to my son and we both said after about that we were playing all right the first 10. It's not happy. It's just not happening. I thought certain people, I'm not just having to go at Eddie, I didn't think any of the Arsenal players played particularly well. I'm talking about Odegaard. I thought he had one of those games where he suddenly become right-footed and he's a total left-footed player. He just couldn't hit anything. I thought that people having to go at the goalkeeper, his distribution. But what I thought I saw, and perhaps I saw it wrong, was that when he got the ball, we were having such a poor game collectively, no one was looking for the ball. No one was making space for him to give it. He was like, looking, who would I give it to? And it's like, not now, perhaps later on give it to me. Is that thoughts went through me? I mean, Ben White, he'd done a couple of crosses, not under pressure, that basically you thought he had the wrong boots on. You know, where we were really right in the box, just push it across. Who knows what's going to happen? There's no one that really came out with anything, you know, any stars. It was just disjointed. Saka didn't look fit. He hasn't looked fit for some time. And that's not like having to go at him. It's the way we're playing him. And also, I don't think they doubled up that much on Saka, Spurs. I think they actually, it was like he was on a one-to-one so many times and he couldn't do it, really. And he had no one supporting him. He had the ball. He was isolated.
Yeah, we said that yesterday.
Did you? Oh, right. I felt he was isolated yesterday, which is a joke. Where he's good at, he's good at dribbling, holding off players, but also to give it the old 1-2. He's away. All of a sudden, he's away, and we got danger. Jesus, however much he ran, he did terrific. But when he missed a goal like that, had it been any other player, you'd have gone, you're doing, mate?
Yeah.
What you're doing. The only thing is, he's got a lot of fat in his body, Jesus, for the Arsenal supporters, because he's done so well. But really, that might have been a game changer.
That would have been a game changer. There's no might, Mel. There's no might. At 1-0, to put that 2-0, Maddison gets caught short on the edge of the area. He gets dispossessed by Jesus. Jesus is one-on-one looking. He even had time to take another touch inwards in the box as well. That's the worst thing. But he gets it off of Maddison straight away and he blasts it over the bar. It was absolutely criminal. If that was any other player, if that was Eddie, we'd be saying he's not good enough.
Oh, Eddie, yeah.
Let's go. Like, this is Jesus. He has got to be more composed there. We saw his composure against Man United. He has it in his locker. He's got to put that away. I
don't know what went through his head, Kieran, because a footballer, first thing you think of when you're about to shoot is, it's just basically a thing. You don't even think about it. It's a natural thing. It's like putting your pedal down if you've got a geared car to change gear. You don't think about it. You do it. Over the ball. Over the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know how we managed to get it so high. I really don't.
Either.
So that was that as well. It just, so many 1-2s were actually not even 1-2s. So many passes weren't coming off. People running to the left, the ball was going to the right. unforced errors, loads of them, which is unusual for us. And I don't think Spurs played that well. But having said that, before I go on, they deserve to draw. On the plate, they deserve the draw, and they might, in an unjust world, they might have won it. They could have won it, and it wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have like shocked us. It was like, oh my God, when we saw 10 minutes to go, we wanted to win it, but I'd have taken the draw. To be honest with you, because we looked bad at the back. Every time they attacked us, it looked like they're going to score. But I don't think they played that well. I think we just went. I think we like someone let the gas out of us. Like after we
scored again.
Yeah, once we scored, even the first guy I'm talking about, I'm going to my son, something's going to happen soon. It's going to happen. It's building up, and they did score. You know, you could tell they kept attacking. We weren't getting any control of the ball. We weren't in their half at all. I mean, it was us looking for the breakaways at home. That's what it was like. And we didn't actually have, I don't know whether because he was injured, but Rice was the type of guy you want to stand and go, no, I'm winning that ball back. Settle down, let's continue. And it never happened. So disappointing. So anyway.
Yeah, Eddie tried that at the end, but it was at about the 70th minute, and he went through the goalkeeper like a knife through butter. It was I even winced at that point.
Blatant red card that should have been.
It was bad. It was touch and go at points.
The
And
only
then
thing
he carried on just chasing around the pitch.
I don't think
that's a blatant red card.
Well, you say that. I don't think it was a red card because Eddie didn't mean it.
Reckless.
He means anything he does.
That's what I'm saying. Out of control, reckless.
Totally.
That's a leg red card.
Given a red card, I wouldn't have said what a diabolical decision.
No, I spent the next 5 seconds going, "Oh, Eddie, what was that? What was that, Eddie? Jesus!
Sod it, he's staying on it."
But he carried on after that, just chasing around, trying to win the ball back. But I was just like, "You're gonna get yourself sent off," and yeah, for some reason,
if that's the only way he can keep his position, I'd rather him not run.
Well, Mikel Arteta kept him on after that. He kept him on, even though he probably should have got him off the pitch. Steve, we spoke about Mikel Arteta's decision making and got it wrong with the starting lineup, but he can't account for unforced errors. Not just the Jorginho one, but sloppy passes left, right, and centre. Decision making from Saka. I think there was one time when he done a 1-2 of Odegaard, and the only option for me was to run into the channels, but he decided to run inwards, which it still baffles me to today. It was just something just wasn't quite there. Can you put your finger on it?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, we've been making these sloppy mistakes all season. This ain't just in the Tottenham game. This is getting something that's like happening every single week. Yeah. You know, we've seen Zinchenko make do one against 1 week. We see Saka doing it another week. Havertz did it another week. That's like, and there was someone else another game after that. It's just continuous sloppy giveaway passes, and we're doing a lot. And look, there's someone Saka should be called out again as well on Sunday, because the way Maddison just walked round him for that goal was absolutely disgraceful, absolutely disgusting. I mean, no, I'd have not seen that brought up at all. But it's like he just said, "There you go, just go round," and Saka just stood there and went, no force, no tackling, nothing. It was too easy, and that's what it is. This, Arsenal at the moment. With sometimes it is a little bit too easy. But putting my finger on what happened the weekend. Look, Arteta got it wrong. He got it wrong right from the off. Melvin's already alluded to the fact that Jesus was starting out on the left and Eddie was down the middle. Do you know what? I would have preferred anything if, don't get me wrong. What should have happened was that Jesus should have been down the middle and we should have played Reece Nelson on the left. Then at least you've got, someone who is a left winger and, who can tack the Spurs. Because when he came on, he looked pretty decent. But Arteta's, team sheet again. I think I don't know what it is. It's a couple of times now this season. He's got it wrong, and he's got it wrong again. I mean, this, we had injuries anyway, And it was like he was making it even worse by picking the team he did from the start. And it was like, we're in enough trouble as it is. I mean, the midfield. I mean, we had no control of the midfield at all through the whole game. None at all. I mean, what is he doing playing Vieira in this London derby? As soon as I see the team sheet, I went, no, this is dodgy, right? This is dodgy, right? Because we're playing a light. He's great on the ball, Vieira, and he's done well this season, right? But in a North London derby, how Havertz wasn't starting in the middle there was absolutely beyond me. And when he came on, he tightened up that straight, and he gave Arsenal some strength in that midfield straight away as soon as he came on. It was a wrong decision, and then Rice went off, and then there was the decision of bringing. I thought, he's going to bring Nelson on in the last few minutes, and so he can play Jesus down the middle and put Nelson out on the left, Saka on the right. But no, he brings Jesus off and keeps Nketiah on, who was having a nightmare.
I didn't understand.
Do not get that.
Why Jesus got taken off? And
It was
I
baffling.
thought it was going to bring on Smith Rowe in about the 70th minute. I thought it was going to
That
bring
was
on Smith
Eddie.
Rowe on the left,
Yeah,
take off Eddie, and put Jesus up front. I was like, okay, we've got some more weapons in our arsenal here. Like, we could do this. We've got another change that can make a difference. And he kept Eddie on, and I was like, huh? He's not been good all game, and he has a yellow card.
Well, you've got players playing in the right position for your last 15 minutes. So you go, well, at least we've got a chance here now. We've got Jesus down the middle in the position where he's meant to be. We've got Reece Nelson out on the left in the position where he's meant to be. And we've got Saka on the right. But not only did he did that, in the same substitution, he brings Saka off.
No.
And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think he's injured. That's the worrying thing.
I got to tell
that
you,
has to be.
when he never had the ball, Steve. He was down our line second half. Saka, whenever had the ball, he was struggling.
Yeah.
Well, look, all for
But
2
when he never
seasons
had
now,
it,
Milf.
he was struggling.
For 2, but for seasons now. Again, I love Arteta, right? He's my guy, right? But we've been saying, why has he never been rested, Saka? He's looked knackered since the start of the season.
It's more than
Right,
knackered now, I think.
Absolutely knackered and shattered, right?
Yeah.
And me and Kieran in post matches, we've called him out, and we don't want to call him out because he's Arsenal's best player, but we're having to call him out. He gets called out like in the game against Fulham. Ramsdale was getting the blame, and someone else got the blame. No, it wasn't their fault. It was Saka's fault. He's knackered. He's not thinking straight. When you're tired, sometimes your brain don't think in the right places.
Yeah, you're fatigued.
It's not helping the fact that Ben White's now turned into the stereotypical right back, where he's not allowed to go forward anymore for some reason or other because he hasn't gone forward all season. So that's not.
He went forward in the PSV game, which was a shining light. It was the way we were playing last season. It stretched the play. It gave other options for Saka, and Saka shone.
But one thing
didn't Ben White get your penalty? Isn't Ben White the reason you got a penalty? He was on the shot there, isn't he? Honestly, lads,
it was from a corner. It was from a corner. That's why he was in the box.
I just got to say, honestly, lads, you're making me laugh here because your standards have grown, and fair play to you, they should do because you're playing very, very. But like, I watched that first half. You're playing lovely football. Come watch Man United, lads.
It's standards, mate. That's what it is, Garth. It is your standard.
That's what I'm saying. Your standards risen, and they should do because you've done so well. Yeah. Also, this Jesus played left wing for his first 3 seasons at Man City. Like he's a good left winger. Like when he had Aguero going through the centre for the first 3 seasons at Man City, he was a winger. And this is what I mean. It's making me smile that you boys got this.
But not when you got Nketiah though. Not when you got Nketiah down the middle. If he's out on the left. And
who else you got for the left?
We haven't got anybody. That's why he's out there.
We've got Emil Smith Rowe. Emil Smith Rowe played on the left wing, and only 2 seasons ago, it was a case of is it Emil Smith Rowe or Martinelli? So Emil Smith Rowe, that's where I see his best position.
So I'll give you that. I'll give you that you had Emil Smith Rowe in, but like honestly, lads, you should be. And I'm not taking it. You should all be well happy because your standards now are up here as they should be. because 2-2 against a Spurs team that's running rampant, unbeaten this season. You're unbeaten this season. The way you three are talking is honestly like you're in 18th or
Yeah,
something,
but
and
do you know
that's
what it
great.
is? Do you know what it is? It's frustration because even if we played how we did yesterday, yeah, we could have got a result, and we didn't play well in the first half. Yes, I'll give you that. But in that first half, there's opportunities to take that game 2-3-0. And before Spurs score on the 42nd minute, and that 42nd minute, just before that, it was like they're going to score here. I'm worried here, and we haven't felt like that in ages. We've been in control of games for the last season. Playing Man City, we've been in, even against Liverpool at Anfield, we've been in control, and all of a sudden, we've not had the control in games this season that we had last season. And I'm not putting it down to people who've sussed us out, which I'm seeing some absolute garbage on. They've been sussed out. They've only got one way of playing. It's this and that. Oh, all of a sudden, Arsenal have been sussed out. No.
This is from Arsenal fans as well. This is from Arsenal fans saying
not
this.
Clicked. We're not clicking. We've tried to change things here and there. It's not worked, but we still get results. And then yesterday was probably the first time against Fulham where we changed things around. It didn't work, and we didn't get the result. And that's where
I'd love to have a team that's not clicking with 4 wins, 2 draws, unbeaten in the league, just smashed up PSV in the Champions League. This is what I'm saying, lads. You lot are living in a fantasy realm.
But the thing is, Garth, this is one game. This is one game. I mean, look, there's no overreaction here from me. You know, I'm expecting to play Bournemouth next week and actually wipe the floor in 5-0. So it's not like I'm thinking to myself, you know, it's sort of like this game. You know, I think we was really poor, and you know, but I've seen a few socials and I've been looking online. I mean, it's Arsenal fan. I'm an Arsenal fan myself, but I'm telling you what, not 75% of the online Arsenal fan base are absolutely embarrassing, mate. I'm embarrassed by them. They are the worst fans. They are the worst fans. I'm going to call them out. AFTV are an absolute joke.
Me and Kieran have this conversation on
right, and they're an absolute embarrassment to Arsenal Football Club, right? And I hope they come in my inbox and tell me that you know differently, because they are an embarrassment. You know, the things that they say. We're not going to win the league. That's it. The season's over.
Yeah,
we're 4 points.
People are so reactionary.
We're 4 points behind Man City with 6 games gone, and let's face it. Man City have played crap. Not crap. They've played Sheffield United. They've played Burnley. They've played Fulham. You know, they've played. Come on now. We beat Man City. We're 1 point behind. I'm fed up with the nonsense. Sorry.
Do you know what I'm not saying? By the way, you're not overreacting. That's what I was trying to say. Like, Arsenal have done such a good job of you boys that your standards are now here where they should be instead of down here like they were a couple of years ago. That just seeing a semi-bad performance in the North London derby where you're walking out with a 2-2 draw, you're all very upset by it, and that's fair. Like, it's fair play to Arteta. I love Arteta, man. I think he is one of the best managers in football. I say it's Akira all the time, don't I, mate? Like, he's great, and so for you boys to be like this now, it hurts my soul as a Man United fan. It hurts my soul.
Just on, I think a lot of those fans also can't handle other rivals' fans digging at them. Now, we have made a rod for our own back over the last season. Whether we got too hyped, we were just happy, or people just didn't like seeing smiles on Arsenal fans' faces. Last season, we are now have to deal with the expectations of other fans and what they're going to be digging us out. And a lot of them donuts out there can't handle it. They can't handle other fans going, just be. And Postecoglou's had one season, barely a season. And Arteta's into his 5th. And look at you. What have you done for it? Like, they can't handle those digs. And if you can't handle those digs, people, get offline. Because that's basic level 1 banter.
Level 1 trolling, Level 1 trolling.
Postecoglou's been here 3 months. That's 5-year plan. So trust the process. Like, come on. Mate. You got to be better than that.
The only thing is, Kieran, when people talk, you know, we're talking about football's a very dividing situation, as it were, and also within fans. At the end of the day, all this chat about this one's good, that one's good, he should have done that, and the manager's this, the manager's that. At the end of the day, if the manager wins your trophies, all the other stuff goes out the window. All gets forgotten, and that is what matters. And that's the only thing you remember in 2 or 3 or 4 years' time.
Yeah, I don't think it's even about trophies.
Noise. They call it noise, the little ups and downs. Don't worry about the noise. Worry about the real thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's even about trophies, Milk. No, I don't think it's even about trophies.
Oh,
I mean,
it
look,
is, Steve, it is.
no, it's not, mate. I don't think so because look, let's face the facts. You know, there's probably on their day, if everybody clicked, I'd say there was, you know, including Man City, but if everyone clicked, you're looking at 5-6 people that can win the title if they clicked. Yeah, if they clicked. They've got the money, the power, the managers, the players that on their day, if they had injury-free seasons, they've got a chance of winning the Premier League, right? There's only one team that can win that every season, yeah? The rest of them's cup competitions. It's just luck of the draw, who you might get. So I think, you know, if you're an intelligent football fan, you look at your club at the beginning of the season, and at the end of the season, you analyse it, and you know whether you're progressing or not, whether you've won a trophy or not. I don't think it means much if you win a trophy. Obviously, we all want to win trophy. We want to win the Premier League. We want to win FA Cups. But I generally think you need to be more, you know, look into other things on, you know, your team and how they performed the whole season. And if you can have, I mean, look, Arsenal had a great season last season for me. We never won nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'd take that again this year.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And there's an element to it. I agree. But it's got to lead to something, and leading to something is ultimately, if it's not the Premier League, it's a cup. It's the run in the Champions League and then the final. And I get what you mean. We didn't have to win the Champions League final to get excited about it, to be like, you know, next season we could do it, we could do it. But eventually we want to get there, because instead, after we got to that final, it was just down. And that's not what we want. We want to keep it up there, try and keep getting to finals. So eventually, you will win one. Like, eventually, if we keep pushing for the league, we will win it.
You've got to be in the mix.
We just have to have Pep leave. And then we're in the conversation.
Yeah, trophies mean everything to me. I hate to disagree with you, Steve. That's a lie. I love to, but trophies mean everything to me, mate. Like absolutely everything. I think if you're saying that you're happy with just performances and being in the mix,
no. That's not what I meant, mate. I'm saying that it's, you know, you at the beginning of the season, you've got to analyse your chances. That there's a lot of teams that can win the Premier League. Or you got a team called Man City, you know, in front of you. Do you know what I mean? So you know,
I get you.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
I misunderstood them. I misunderstood. Sorry, mate. I thought you were like,
it's not like, of course, mate.
As long as you're performing, you're not that worried about trophies. I've got the one of the stick.
Oh no! I want to win trophies like.
It's got to lead. Otherwise,
it's just you got to be realistic, don't you? You know, as a football fan. Yeah,
I think the realism is progression on what you did last season, and you can win a cup. You can win a cup. Like you can win an FA Cup, you can win a Carabao Cup, you can push in the Champions League. If you're in the Europa League, you can push in that. There's other competitions. Man City only won the Champions League under Pep after the 6th time of trying. So it's not a foregone conclusion that Man City will win it. And they got knocked out with teams like Liverpool, Tottenham, Lyon. Like they've been knocked out by Leipzig, they've been knocked out by lesser teams. So in the cup competitions, it can definitely be done. The league, it's a different animal, and we're gonna have to buy that one.
They're not just saying it because we came second last year, but the Premier League is far harder to win at the moment than the Champions League.
Oh, of course, 100%.
I think leagues are always harder to win. I think on most cup competitions,
especially,
I definitely agree with that, mate.
Especially with the Man City team and what they're like at the moment.
Yep. Quickly run through before we get to Man United. Brighton won 3-1 against Bournemouth. How long can they keep hold of their players? It's pretty much an advertisement for a player or the manager every week where they perform. De Zerbi's probably one of the most sought after managers in world football at the moment. I see Man United fans sniffing around him already. And Matoma, another player who how long could he potentially stay at Brighton? Banging in goals and assists week in, week out. Garth, 1-0 to Burnley, clean sheet, great goal by Fernandes.
No, lovely goal, yeah.
But you're still not happy.
Oh, mate, it's like, it does make me laugh when you boys are all like, I can't believe it. When you're all
you've changed your tune. You're not happy to 1-0 win.
The individual errors, I can't believe it. I watched that first half of Arsenal. I'm like, I said to you, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful football. I can't believe it.
I've seen like 4 individual errors there. Like, what? Yeah, passes going astray. It's frustrating.
We're all over the gaff again. I mean, this is a secular thing that we see with Man United, the cycle. We do all right with the manager for the first season, and all of a sudden the leaks are coming out of the dressing room. People ain't happy. The performances aren't happening. Listen, these players threw Mourinho, Van Gaal, Solskjaer under the bus. They're going to throw Ten Hag under the bus as well. And I feel for the man. I really do. We are an omni-shambles of a team at the moment. We have no structure because the players aren't doing what they're told. Our passing is a disgrace. We are Moments FC. Let's face it, we were lucky to beat Wolves. We were lucky to beat Forest, and we were lucky to beat Burnley. 1 goal wins against all 3 of them. You're talking about, like, well, maybe not Wolves, but 2 of them are relegation candidates. Burnley got 1 point. We've lost to the 4, including Bayern Munich, what you'd call bigger teams that we've played. Yeah, we're in for a long, hard season. Like, if you're talking about the game itself, yeah, I know. It's why I'm laughing at you boys. Yeah, talking about the Burnley game as an individual game, we were outplayed for 70 minutes. They had 63% possession, more shots, more progressive passes, more progressive runs, more touches in our box. We were a shambles again, and it's just lucky.
I'm not laughing, Garth. I'm with you.
No,
mate.
you should.
You
should laugh. Yeah, no, you should. Listen, I'm not one of these Man United fans that gets upset when people are digging out Man United. I understand it. Like, for the longest time, Man United fans were clearly, like, we were definitely insufferable to be around because we were winning everything, and now our time has come not to win things, and it happens. Empires fall, and ours is in ruins. Man United as an institution.
There's a way that Man United could maybe fall and have a rebuild, but they're just crumbling, and the stadium's a perfect picture of that. Like, the stadium is falling apart. Cristiano Ronaldo goes back to the training ground after years of being away and goes, it's still the same, and not in a good way. There's just no one there. It doesn't feel like there's football people up above that are making the right decisions.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, sorry, go on.
I just thought that manager you've got, I didn't know much about him apart from when he was manager of Ajax, when he got into the semi-finals. And I saw the football they played, and I saw the players, and that was more the club bringing them through, as I've done for the last 30 years. And I thought, this guy is off the radar. How lucky will we be to get a manager, someone like that? And it seems to have changed when he went to Man United, as if I'm sure he can do what he wants. He doesn't really doing it. No, I don't know what it is, because the guy, obviously, Ajax, his football was off the radar. It was fantastic. Yeah, you could have bought any of their players and gone, wow, look who we bought. And none of them, I mean, you bought one of them.
We bought like 7 of them.
Yeah. Well, you bought like 7 midfielder you bought. You just
Van der Beek.
What's happened to him? He looked fantastic in that cup run.
You look at our team now. Onana was part of that team. Van der Beek was part of that team. Lisandro Martinez was part of that team. Anthony was part of that team. And apart from Lisandro Martinez, none of them have worked. Listen, the easy answer to all of these questions is wrong. The Glazers. That's the easy answer. Now, it isn't quite as simple as that, but honestly, you can track a direct line from every single problem with this Man United team, from the performances on the pitch to what's going on in the boardroom, back to the Glazers. Now, whether that line's got a few bumps in it where other things are included or not, that's a different matter. But yeah, every problem links back to the Glazers, man. The stadium, back to the Glazers. The chopping and changing of managers, back to the stadium. The player power, back to the Glazers, because they've not got the will to do what Arsenal did and just get rid of these bad apples from our team. Pay them off. Who's leaking from our dressing room? We all know who it is. It's the British players who ain't getting picked. It's Maguire. It's I'm not just digging out Maguire, but like it's the British players, because it ain't going to be Anthony picking up the phone to Sam Lockhurst, is it? Going, oh yeah, blah blah. Until they're gone, and they won't. In my opinion, they're never going to leave unless they get 8-10 bill. Why would they? They make too much money off us. If you look at it from a cold-hearted business decision, it is. Why would we sell? We make so much money off that. And I can see the comment already. People say Glazers don't pick the team or train the team. No, but they give rise to, because the players now know that the manager will go long before the players go, it gives rise to the atmosphere that the player power rules. So they haven't got to train very hard. You look at every manager. Yeah, you look at every manager saying the same thing. Yeah, they gave us our 6-7 options. They look at Ronaldo. Players are running the team basically, and so it's just cheaper for the Glazers to sack the manager and start again. Because weirdly, even though we've had no success in 10 years, really, we're still like commercially the biggest football team in the world, aren't we? We top 3 still. We make the most money and the most turnover. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, until they're gone, I can't really say what's going on with this team. Yeah, it's meant to be about Burnley. That was an awful game.
And, I wanted to quickly ask you about Højlund. 72 million is a lot of pressure on the kid. What's your thoughts so far?
Raw, very raw. The 72 mil is definitely for his prospective abilities. I said to you at the start, didn't I, when we signed him, I don't see him scoring more than 12 goals in his first season, because he's 20.
United need more than 12 goals to.
Yeah, we need more than 12. He's getting used to the pace of the league, and again, we're not playing to his strengths. Really, we should be, because of his speed, we should be putting in balls behind, but we're not. He's backing in. It's like we're signing a Danish Lukaku all of a sudden, because his touch is just as good as Lukaku's. Again, though, I'm being harsh because the team's in disarray. I'm hoping once the structure's settled, like Mount's back, we get a right winger, whoever that be, whether it be somewhat like no Sancho, no Anthony, obviously, so we've got hopefully Ahmed. Once it's settled, I'll have a clearer picture of how good he is. But at the moment, underwhelmed. And if you speak to Nathan, or like when we do the Chicks United show, his point from a striker's point of view, like professional striker, he's like, I don't see it. I know it's only 3 games.
At all.
I don't see. That's what he's saying. I don't see it. I don't see him being a 30-goal a season striker. Now, he's not like digging him out hardcore, but 72 mil, I'm expecting 30 goals a season from him. You know, I mean, in a couple of years, but yeah, he says he don't see it. So tough.
I think you make a good point, Gar, after the fact that he's coming into a team that's in disarray. Yeah, and especially if someone who's coming in for, whether the price tag bothers him or not, who knows? We don't know. But, he's coming from another league. Look, he's a young kid, and he's coming into a Man United side, and, they're asking him to save their season, more or less. And,
literally, yeah.
That's not fair.
And that's not, and that's not fair. And they're asking him, it feels like not you, Garth, and not other certain Man United fans, but a lot of Man United fans are saying, like we've been saying here, he's got to score 15, you've got to score 20 goals. Yeah, and that's not good. I mean, Man United should have Højlund on the bench, and they should have another up front.
100%.
Who's a quality, we know the type of strikers United have had in the past. We don't have to name them. Carl, Van Nistelrooy, Rooney, Van Persie.
We can make me happy,
let's
mate.
Let's just name them.
Those were the
I'd take a Louis Saha right now, lads. You know what I mean?
Like, that's the thing. Man United were buying players that were recognised in the league as the best players in the league, or
under the top 4 or 5 as it was at the time. You know what I mean? Yeah.
When they bought Valencia, it was like, oh, that makes sense actually, because he's devastating for Wigan every week. Like he's just powerful, fast, and scores goals. Not surprising.
I think he was underrated at United. I really do. I thought he was an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry?
Valencia.
Yeah. Underrated.
Oh, he's a great player.
You never know one ever spoke about him. Every game, I think he was doing stuff.
I put him in front of Neville. I put him in front of Neville with my Man United team when I was
that's madness. That's madness. I remember that. That's still madness. The problem with Valencia for a lot of Man United fans is obviously he was bought to replace.
Don't like Gary Neville.
Yeah. Oh yes, they moved him right back, didn't they? In the end.
Yeah, he only become right back the last couple of years, which is why again, like he's not a right back at all. period. He's a right winger, out and out right winger as well. He played right back for a little bit. So the problems were, but again, great player. Great, like he went under the radar. We were coming towards the end of us being the best team in England, or second, third, whatever you want to say, at that period. And Valencia, for a lot of people, was the start. Was he signed with the Glazers? Yeah, of course he was. Yeah. So it was the start of the Glazers coming in and not getting the right players in. Even though he's a great player, I agree with everyone. Like, honestly, he's a great player. But replacing Ronaldo with Valencia, that's stuck in a lot of people's minds. You know what I mean? Like, you got Michael Owen and Valencia in to replace Ronaldo, and a lot of people hated that. But great player, very good player.
Do you know, just one more thing, Garth? I mean, I don't know if you could. I mean, do you think like Man United, when they sign their players, or it's Ten Hag or someone who's Ten Hag's employed to look into the attitudes of players, you know, or players, or managers, managers in the past that, you know, should be looking in. I mean, we know that Arteta, Klopp, you know, Guardiola, we know they don't just look into like how good the player is. They look into how he is off the field, what's he like at home.
I think they
look at everything.
Used to. Like, not only brought in a player if they had the mentality to be able to do it at Man United, and that was if you don't have the mentality, that was a big thing.
Yeah,
and that's why Ten Hag's going after this. I should have said this earlier. Sorry, another reason why Ten Hag's going after the players that he knows, because he knows they might have the right mentality. Apart from Anthony, obviously. So,
I don't understand that one. The mentality. Don't understand.
It's madness. Like this, like the Man United. This is what I mean. We are throwing money at a problem that, like, I truly believe that Man United need Arsenal seasons, 2 seasons in 8th, no European football. We're not buying the best players in the world. We're going out and we're having to find gems and find players that fit the system. Not going out and buying Di Maria, not going out and buying Lukaku, not going like we need exactly what Steve was saying. We need a better scouting system. We need better look into the players.
I got an idea how United can do it in one fell swoop and save them a lot of money. Buy Brighton.
yeah. That's not even a bad idea.
It's not even unfeasible because they haven't got enough money to be quite honest.
But even Rashford, Garth, even Rashford, to me, you know, if he was in an Arsenal shirt, I'd be looking at him and saying, "What's wrong with you?" You know, his attitude looks to me. I'm only a rival fan. But he looks to his attitudes to me looks like it stinks.
Nah.
And it's like and when he is arguably Manchester United's best player. I mean, on his day, he's he's touching world class. He's unreal. The goals he scored last season. But I mean, there was a goal. Was it against the other day or a couple of days ago where he lost the ball and he just stood there? And they just ran up and scored, and I'm like, I've seen this a lot from you.
Listen.
You know, why are you doing?
A lot of people.
Arteta would have pulled him off.
Yeah, you say that, but who the Man United bring on? We've got no one. Listen, a lot of people saying this about Rashford. I couldn't disagree anymore. Listen, if we're conceding goals and you're blaming the left inside forward for not tracking back, then I'm sorry, no. He's got Rashford's the furthest forward player in his team. He's got 9 men and a goalkeeper behind him. His job, when you watch Ten Hag's system, is not to track back. His job is to be an outlet on the wing. Now, I agree with you. Sometimes he could make a little bit more effort. But, mate, like obviously, you may have seen it. I had a massive disagreement with Nathan over this. The man scored, like, he's talking about we should have Matoma. And I'm like, mate, the man had 41 goal contributions for Man United last year in 60 games. 41. That is literally, now, like, I went through it. Apart from, like, the Mbappes of this world, when you talk about left wingers, there is no one else that has that goal contribution ratio.
No, that's fair, Garth. Garth, that's fair. I'm probably not. I'm so used to Martinelli and Saka on our wides, like helping out the left backs.
No, he could do more. He could do more.
I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, well, why Rashford doing what Saka does? Why ain't he doing what Martinelli does? Because when they lose the ball, they're back in the corner flags.
But do they play 90 minutes every week, Martinelli and Saka?
More or less.
Saka will.
Saka does.
Come off.
Yeah. Like Rashford.
Martinelli most of the time.
Rashford plays every minute of every game because he's our only outlet. Like, and so
he's
knackered.
He's probably knackered.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's 70 minutes. He ain't doing that.
Go on, Mel.
Yeah.
There's a bit of buzzing when Steve talks. I can hear a bit of buzzing, or is it? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
One
It's
player
just-
at United that sums up for me more players. Not he probably does try hard, but I get the impression that he just makes up the numbers, and it costs a lot of money. Was Martial? I just don't get him. I just don't get him. He doesn't.
Oh,
His
gosh.
body language to me. It might be that I'm reading it all wrong. And I don't see what he does.
You're not.
You're not.
Martial is a pure. That's what I mean. That's the difference between Martial and Rashford. Like, whilst I agree with you, Steve, that he could do more. Martial is the epitome of if he ain't in a good mood, he ain't giving you nothing, absolutely nothing. So if he didn't get his Wheatios this morning, if his mum didn't tuck him into bed last night, you know what I mean? And it could be anything. You're having a stinker from him. So, but again, it's more than one player. It's more than one thing. Man United's problems are a multitude. We could spend another 3 hours of me just going through literally. I know we ain't got a lot of the problems at Man United.
No, just come back next Monday for a gas therapy session. I'm hoping Arsenal aren't involved in that as well.
Yeah, we got Palace two games in on the bounce since before next week, and we do really well against them. So I can't wait for
So what, you've got them in the cup as well?
League Cup on Tuesday, and then in the league on Saturday, I think. So.
All right, we'll make sure you join us next week because I'm sure Garth has plenty to say about Manchester United and their downfall. Of course, make sure you join us as well for the post-match reaction of Arsenal's game on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. There is no Arsenal show tomorrow. We kind of did a little merger today. That's what happens when you get to go to screeners of movies that aren't out yet.
I don't know what you're saying, bro.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Garth.
Pleasure as always. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Melvin.
Thank you very much, Kieran, and nice to meet you, Garth.
Yeah, you too, man. You too.
Thank you for everyone in the comment section, Travis, Russ, and Galvo. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you are new to the show, and if you are a regular, press that share button. Press the share button and the copy button and the like button as well. All right, peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.